So today we're diving into a really fascinating project coming out of Baltimore. It's called Sanctuary, and it's this incredibly ambitious plan to build, well, a digital fortress around the health data of some of the city's most marginalized communities. But this isn't just about privacy, it's about power. It's a complete rethinking of who should control our most personal information. Let's break down exactly how it works. This quote, it just cuts right to the heart of the whole issue, doesn't it? For so long, the health data system has been built on one thing: extraction. It takes our personal, often painful information and treats it like just another commodity. And in the end, the very people it's supposed to be helping are left even more vulnerable. Sanctuary was basically designed to smash that machine. You know, there's actually a name for this problem: the data panopticon. Think about it like this. To get essential, sometimes life-saving services, you're forced to lay your entire life bare for all these different institutions. And then, all that data gets swept up and locked away on some centralized corporate server. It becomes this treasure trove for anyone looking to misuse it, sell it, or even weaponize it against you. And look, this isn't just some abstract, theoretical problem. To really get why a solution like Sanctuary is so urgently needed, you have to look at the very specific dangers this system creates for real people right now on the ground in Baltimore. The threats here are incredibly sharp and specific. I mean, we're talking about out-of-state legal attacks directly targeting gender-affirming care records for trans folks. You've got situations where substance use records for people re-entering society are getting mixed up with general health data, which flat-out violates federal law. And then there are the community organizations who are caught in this impossible trap. They have to collect data to get the funding they need to exist, but doing that puts the very people they serve at risk. And on top of it all, the best security tools cost a fortune, creating this sort of digital redlining where only the wealthy can afford real protection. And make no mistake, there is a massive, massive financial reason to keep this broken system exactly as it is. We're talking about a global health data market that's projected to be worth $1 trillion. That value is coming from everywhere: pharmaceutical research, AI training, you name it. And it's all built on the data of regular people. Which brings us to the most crucial and frankly unjust part of all of this. The marginalized communities in places like Baltimore, they generate a huge amount of this data. Their health stories become the raw material, the capital for huge institutions. And yet, historically, they see none of the financial return. The system, as the quote said, takes the value and leaves the trauma. Sanctuary is designed to completely flip that script. So you're up against this massive trillion-dollar system. How in the world do you even begin to fight back? Well, Sanctuary's answer is that you don't just build another app, you don't just create another piece of software. You have to build a whole new form of community infrastructure, something that's actually owned and controlled by the people it's designed to protect. The term they use for this is a sovereign operating protocol. And that comparison to a community land trust, that's completely intentional. It's a signal that this project is just as much about political self-determination and community ownership as it is about fancy cryptography and code. So how does it actually work? Well, the core idea is pretty brilliant in its simplicity. Just imagine this: all your personal information, your name, your address, everything that says this is you, is in one locked box. And all your health records, the services you've received, the places you've been, are in a totally separate second locked box. The system is built so that only you hold the keys that can bring those two boxes together. That whole two locked boxes idea is brought to life through a system they call the Dual-Vault Unlinkable Architecture, or DVUA for short. So let's pop the hood for a minute, because this is the real technical heart of the entire Sanctuary project. Okay, so here's the breakdown. First, you have the identity vault. That's where your personal info, like your name and date of birth, goes. It's heavily encrypted. Then, completely separate from that, is the activity vault. Every time you get a service, it's recorded as an anonymous little data point in there. Now, the magic happens in the middle, at the bridge layer. This thing is basically a consent gate that only you can open. And finally, if an organization needs to report to its funders, the export layer can bundle up all those anonymous activity points to prove work is being done, but without ever revealing who it was done for. And this right here is the absolute game changer. You see, old systems might try to anonymize data after it's already been collected and put in one big pile. That's called pseudonymization, and legally, it's often not good enough. Sanctuary's approach is true de-identification. It structurally separates your identity from your activity from the very beginning, at the moment of creation. That is a way more secure and legally defensible way of doing things. Those little anonymized data points in the activity vault, they have this fantastic name, pheromones. And the metaphor is just perfect, right? Like a biological pheromone. This data can signal a pattern at the community level, say a need for a certain service in a specific neighborhood, but it never ever reveals the single individual who sent out that signal.
And let me tell you, this isn't just a clever idea in some software. This thing is built like a digital tank. It's written in a programming language called Rust, which just automatically prevents about 70% of common security bugs. It runs on a specially hardened version of Linux that slashes the potential for hacks. It even has defenses for physical threats, things like a calculator stealth screen that can disguise the app if someone's looking over your shoulder, and even a USB dead man switch to protect the data if a device is taken.
So all this incredible tech has a profound real-world impact. In Maryland, there's something called the Trans Shield Act, which is supposed to protect gender-affirming care records. Sanctuary's design gives that law actual teeth. It creates what's called a technical incapacity defense. An organization using Sanctuary can go to a court and truthfully, legally say, we cannot hand over what we do not possess. Protection is no longer just a promise on a piece of paper, it's a mathematical certainty.
Okay, so Sanctuary provides this incredibly powerful shield for safety and for sovereignty, but the vision is actually even bigger than just playing defense. It's also designed to be an engine, to create a way for the community to finally reclaim the economic value of its own data.
And this is powered by what they call the sovereign data economy. It works as a pretty simple but powerful loop. First, community members can choose to consent and share their anonymous pheromone data for things like research. When they do that, they get compensated with digital tokens called SUL. Researchers and institutions can then license this incredibly valuable, clean, and ethically sourced data directly from the community. And here's the crucial part. That money, that revenue, flows right back to fund the Sanctuary infrastructure and something called a Community Health Reinvestment Fund, which is governed by the community itself.
So when you put Sanctuary side by side with the big commercial systems, the difference is it's night and day. Commercial systems are cloud-based and vendor-owned. Sanctuary is offline-first and community-owned. They can't possibly offer a defense for the Trans Shield Act. Sanctuary was literally designed for it. They provide zero value back to the community. Sanctuary builds an entire economy around it. It's like the source document says. For them, extraction is the business model. Sanctuary's business model is sovereignty. And really, it all comes back to this one powerful idea from the founder, Aziza Okoro. Infrastructure is never neutral. Every single system has the values of its builders baked right into it. And Sanctuary is intentionally baking in a new set of values, that the people who have been most harmed by data extraction should be the ones to build the future of data sovereignty. And so this entire project leaves us with one last really powerful question to think about. Sanctuary is starting with health data, but the principle of sovereignty that it's fighting for, that opens up a whole new world of possibilities. When a community truly owns its own information, what else can it own? What else can it build?